So I got into baseball when I was 5, actually, back home in Hawaii. I kind of was just thrown into it pretty much. My whole dad side of the family, they've played baseball or softball. So like my dad, his brother, my uncles, my aunties, my cousins and stuff like that. So it, yeah, I was kind of like a park rat, I would say. Um, I kind of played rec ball from like T-ball up until coach pitch, and then I would say until I was 8 or 9 is when I started to kind of get into it a little bit more competitive. And then growing up, I played pony in Mililani, which is the Mililani Baseball League out there back home, and I did that for from ages I think 9 till it was about I went to high school, so 13 or so. And that's where I kind of started to grow a little bit more as a baseball player. I was a late bloomer. I started off rough. I was that guy they would put in right field because I was the cone. It was like all I could do was throw. I couldn't do anything else. Um, but then when I went to high school, I went to Waipahu High School, and then which is my hometown, so it was nice. Is where I kind of developed what it was that I kind of wanted to be as a baseball player. Um, I was a 4-year starter as a shortstop, but majority all of my awards that I've won were as a pitcher. And it was crazy. I was able to win all conference and player of the year um, throughout my time there. Won our first ever state championship in my high school as well my senior year, and we had a perfect season, 15-0. So I mean that was a great way to kind of cap that off from my high school career. So I was able to go to college after I went to a junior college, Cabrillo College, in Santa Cruz, California, which is on the northern side of the state. That is where I kind of got my eyes open to like just a whole different world of baseball, just because of the fact of just seeing way more ball players and guys from all over. And it was cool because that was my first step into like seeing not just guys from back home in Hawaii, but guys from like Australia, Canada, all over the states. So it was super cool for me. But the cool thing about it was like our upperclassmen, they kind of took us under their wing, and they pushed us. You know, they kind of showed us the ropes and what to do. And it was nice. I was blessed. Both years I was there, we won conference championships. Went to the super regionals. Both years came up short by a game. Heartbreakers, you know, sucks to suck, but I mean, it happens. It's baseball. But I mean, just that 2 years there it was great because the guys that I was teammates with both years, it was literally kind of like another family. We were super like close knit. Our bond was hard to break, and I feel like that's what kind of that chemistry helped us win on the baseball field. And then after I was done there, I was offered a scholarship to a 4-year, NAIA actually, Mayville State University, which is in North Dakota. And that in itself was another eye opener for me. And when it wasn't really because of the baseball, it was more because of the weather. Me being from Hawaii, man, I've never seen snow until I went there, and let me tell you, I was in for the shock of my life. It was insane. My first year there, I had to redshirt just because of like some credit things. You're sometimes in California JUCOs, all your credits don't transfer over to your universities, which is weird. I don't get it, but it happens. So I had to redshirt, and that first year, man, it was tough. Being that far away from home, being in snow like that, like, and when I say snow, I mean like it is negative 30 to negative 50 with wind chill. I know here it's Celsius, but back in the States, so I mean, I don't know what it would be here, but it was so bad. And I remember my junior year when I finally got to play, we played a game and there was literally snow on the warning track, and we're playing in literally, so the NCAA rule is you can play games as long as it's 30 and above. So we literally were playing and it's 30 degrees out with like 15 or 20 mile per hour wind chills. And it was the first time I ever seen a second baseman catch a fly ball in like a catcher's pop position. It was insane. I was just like, where am I right now? You know, it was crazy. But baseball wise there, it was great. I enjoyed my experience. it was a little different from being back home and being in California, you know. So I kind of got a taste of all different like backgrounds and like all the people that I met, you know, like where they're from. It was super cool. Fortunately, we were able to win. We won two there. We won one my redshirt year. Um, my junior year, we came up close, but we lost in the championship. But then we were still able to go to the national tournament, which was nice. We got eliminated there though. And then my senior year, we won. We ended up breaking like the score record for the most wins, which was sweet. And we were ranked pretty high in the state as well as far as like top 25 rankings. Um, Same thing. Went to the national tournament, and you know I think we were seeded number 2, and just double elimination tournament. We get to that double elimination game there. We literally lose it 2-1 off of just you know a error that you know it just happens in big games like that. It cost us. It sucked, but I mean that is where I would say my 4 year is where I really grew into myself, like where I was molded and like I knew like, hey, this is the kind of baseball player I am. This is what I bring to the table here. You know, it wasn't like we're in junior college. I went to junior college when I was 17, you know, so 17, 18, 19 years old. I'm still young, you know, fresh out of high school. I'm still trying to understand and learn the game at a higher IQ, play at a higher level. But I feel at Mayville, that is where it kind of like, it was molded into me, and I knew what my approach was, how I went about my business. You know, it's how I would describe my style of play. I would say I'm a I'm an old school guy. That's how I was taught growing up. So like old school way, what I mean is like how everyone wants to say, you know, like throw your hands at the ball, chop down at it, all that kind of stuff. You know, that was me growing up, and from that, you know, as I got older, it only amounted to, you know, I mean, it hard hits, but it was just line drives, base hits, you know, not a lot of pop. Um, it kind of developed me into like a grinder, like a scrapper at the plate. You know, I had to grind my ABs out. You know, find a way to win the at bat, whether it was, you know, a hit, a walk, hit by pitch, you know, anything, whatever I could do, a bunt for a base hit. Um, but I would say like I'm still the same like gritty grinder guy at the plate and like even on the field, but I feel like my game has kind of fluctuated to like the new school way now of like what they're kind of teaching of the whole launch angle stuff. You know, thinking a little bit more about what your barrel path is doing instead of throw your hands at the ball, right? All that kind of smaller stuff. So I feel like my style of play is still scrappy, just a little bit more evolved than what it used to where I was back in the day. So yeah. So how I was able to come out here and play for the London Mets. So I use this platform called the Baseball Jobs Overseas, and it's pretty much, you know, David Burns and Jimmy Jensen. Those guys, they're great, man. They give us guys an opportunity to further our careers. You know, for us to be overseas professionals. So you know, there's a bunch of us imports in. I'm here in London, but Germany, Czech, just all over Europe. You know, Australia, Japan, all that kind of stuff. It's this platform, Baseball Jobs Overseas, has been a big loophole for a lot of us baseball players to keep furthering our careers. So getting into it, the London Mets, pretty much they found me on there. At the time, I was in talks with a few other teams from Germany and Czech Republic as well. And it was kind of coming down, you know, to nitty gritty. I think it was in early March, and they were still on my list. And then I talked to Brendan Power and Rich, our manager, and they called me up, and you know, they gave me like a little phone call, and I had a Zoom call with Rich, just asking me like what kind of baseball player I am, like what the league is like, you know, all that rundown stuff. And for one, I mean, who wouldn't love to come to London, right? Like London as a city, sick. I mean, as far as like my time being here, I've enjoyed it. London has been nothing but awesome. And secondly, it was, you know, they sold me so much on like yeah, man, you can come here and it'll be great. Like you could come and help like turn the baseball culture around. And I was like, yeah, sick, man, like for sure. I'm thinking, coming out here, it's gonna be like legit, right? And so I come out here and first day I get out here, I come to the field and I'm like, oh, where's the fences? Like, oh no, we put up our own fences. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? So that was where it was a big like I had a good laugh about it. But I mean, I enjoy the NBL. There's definitely decent talent here, great talent. Love the guys on my team, man. I would go to war with these guys every single day of the week. I love the way we go about our business as a team here. The club especially, I love how everybody handles their business. And it's kind of like a family in a sense, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we have all of these teams, but everybody helps each other out. It's cool. Um, the other thing I would say too, it's been nice to just get back to one, playing baseball, but two, another route I would say, like not route, I would say avenue, another avenue I would say for me to see different, backgrounds, especially like baseball culture, right? Like baseball culture here is different from Canada, the States, all that stuff. So that as well has been a pretty cool thing to experience out here. So the things I would say that's different about my experience here in the UK and how it's been in the States. One, honestly, I would say is like the tempo of the game. It's a little bit more intense, I would say. A little bit more like that fire. Like guys are out there in the States every single day. Like getting after it, grinding. Where it's here, it's tough. We only get to play like once a weekend. It's doubleheader. Um, Another thing, it's the velo here. It's a little different. Um, the style of play as well. I've seen some things that I would never think I would see in baseball. I've seen some things here. But as far as like overall, it's still baseball at the end of the day. It may be a lower level or lower caliber, but the guys compete. That's all you can ever ask for, right? Is when you show up to the ballpark is yourself, your team, and your opponents. You kind of you want to go at it, right? You want to compete, you want to grind. Um, but as far as game style and game play, everything is pretty much ran the same. It's just the caliber is a little different to me. That's about it. That's a tough question, I've been thinking about this actually for like the past couple of years now. Um, you know, I haven't made a decision yet, but this at the end of this year or next year will probably be my last year. Just playing wise, it's just you know the the body doesn't work like it used to, man. And it's not just that, I mean, I love the game, I love playing, but it's what goes into it in the off season. You know, that training, and like for everybody who's played at a higher level, they understand. How crucial and how big your off season is for you as a baseball player, right? And the strain and the stress you put on your body during that time, I feel like that takes more of a toll on me than playing a full season. Um, so yeah, for me, I feel like I'm coming to the end of it. I just don't know when, but it's soon. But it doesn't mean I want to be a part of the game. Like I'm a baseball instructor right now back in Washington State, so I definitely still want to be a part of the game, as a coach or as an instructor, right? My my ultimate goal is to go back home one of these days, back to Waipahu, back to my hometown, my roots, and I want to coach for our high school baseball team. I feel like it would be a pretty cool story, like go back to the high school where you guys won your first ever state baseball championship, and to go back and be like, yeah, hey, I want to coach in my alma mater. Um, So yeah, I feel like my baseball story won't end after I'm done playing. You know, I wanted to further on with coaching on the side. Um, Other than that, though, I mean, we'll just see what happens, right?